Can you see my pants? Hey guys, Vincent Giallo here. Welcome back. Today we're going to get to video 7 of my VHS collection. These are more horror films, slasher kind of stuff, but not really like in a slipcase kind of stuff. This is more like the cutout box, kind of big box kind of stuff. First one right off the top, guys, Barracuda. One of my favorites. Again, this one's a horror film, but it's not quite as, you know, horror or slashery or whatever you want to call it, like Piranha. Like there's more kills, like fish attacking and killing. There are some kills in this, but it's kind of more of an ecological thriller. But the same kind of idea. Barracudas, you know, have been sort of mutated and transformed because there's some toxic stuff being pumped into the water insidiously by a corporation, like intentionally. Where I think in Piranha it was sort of haphazard that this stuff got released into the rivers. But I always liked this one. I saw this one in a theater with my dad way back when. And I just really always kind of thought it was a cool one. In fact, it was on Svengoolie a couple months ago, and it was kind of cool to see it on TV. But definitely a good one. You can almost watch it with your kid. You know, there's not a lot of extreme violence and stuff like that in it, but definitely a good one, guys. I was really enjoyed that one. Next one, Slumber Party Massacre. Oh yeah, this one here, guys, too. You know, another classic. Michelle Michaels, of course. The only thing I didn't really dig about this flick, and some people kind of like it, I don't really know, is the killer. Like, I've never really kind of gotten into that guy. He was wearing like a full denim, like jean jacket and jeans and stuff, and I think they could have done a little more with his disguise or what have you, or costume or something. He's not wearing a mask, and I mean, that's here, you know, I'm not a huge fan. It's kind of here or there. Some people like it, some people don't. I don't know. But, you know, definitely a classic to have. Of course, it was directed by a woman, which is kind of interesting too for the time and the type of movie it was, right? So I thought it was a good one to have in a collection. Next one, guys, is Funhouse. One that I really enjoy. Yeah, I'm a big fan of these, you know, carnival rides. You know, you go in the little car and you go through like the dark ride. I always liked that kind of stuff. So this one always kind of intrigued me as a kid, and when I finally saw it, I was always renting it, and I'd rent this thing for like Halloween parties and have people come over and stuff. It's got a really creepy kind of a tone to it. I'm sure you guys have seen this. You kind of know what I'm talking about. Not a lot of kills and stuff, but just a different kind of concept. Toby Hooper did a really good job on this one. I always really enjoyed that one. Next one, guys, Sorority House Massacre. This one here, man, this cover art is one of the classics. You know, you see this, it's just, man, it always, you know, you want to rent this thing. Always thought it was a pretty good one. It's kind of got like little elements of like Nightmare on Elm Street kind of stuff, like dream kind of psychic kind of stuff going on and that. But definitely a cool slasher, kind of a genre bending slasher, if you will. And I kind of like that. It's a little bit different, right? The next one, guys, Gun Massacre. I think I did a video on this one before, just by itself. And I love this flick. It's so ridiculous. I don't even know what the deal is, like how this thing was made or what they were thinking. It's so crazy, you know. Every time this guy kills, there's like this weird soundtrack kind of thing going on in the background, like him laughing as he's walking away, and like the scene with this guy and this chick having sex against a tree. I've timed it. It's at least a minute long, pretty close, and all you see is this guy's bare ass grinding on this chick against a tree for a minute, and the camera slowly comes in. Thankfully, the guy shows up and nails them both. But then the dude falls down. A woman falls down behind him. They're both naked. The guy falls in front of her, basically, and he's just got you got this naked woman. I mean, you know, this is the kind of flicks, you know, you're expecting to see some flesh or whatever. Not some guy's junk. Guy falls down in front of her, splayed out, like just, you know, it's kind of weird. So I always wondered, like, what was the deal behind that scene? You know, it was kind of strange, but needless to say, it's a classic. If you haven't seen it, track it down. And the next one, guys, Last House on the Left. I mean, what do you say? I mean, this, I Spit on Your Grave, these are some brutal flicks. Wes Craven's first picture. David Hess is just greasy and creepy, you know, and he was later on too. I mean, this guy, you know, is a hell of an actor and just kind of seedy guy. And this film is brutal. But, you know, I also, you know, I'm kind of curious, you know, has anybody, I don't know if you guys can comment below or even know, maybe it was never released, but I'm kind of curious about some of Wes Craven. This is an old Vestron. I'm kind of curious about some of Wes Craven's porn that he was directing before this, because that, you know, I wonder if it's kind of got a seedy, greasy element to it, if it's just kind of, you know, straight up 70s kind of porn or whatever. But yeah, this flick, I mean, for his first film, it's still one of his best. I mean, Scream is fantastic, of course, and you know, Elm Streets and stuff. But I mean, this is just, it's wacky. I always liked it though. And speaking of wacky, guys, Don't Answer the Phone. I don't know if you guys have seen this thing. This is one of my favorites. This movie is off the chain. It's about this kind of portly, kind of chubby fellow, kind of cruising around and making phone calls into this talk show and like coming over and like strangling and killing these women. But the performance by Nicholas Worth as the killer, and the killer doesn't even have a name, he's just called the killer. Nicholas Worth is crazy. Like, he goes into these bombastic scenes of mayhem where he's crazed and he's insane. So I mean, I really like it for that. It's absolutely nuts. It's a crazy performance. And one of my favorites. It's kind of a little bit of kind of a TV movie feel to it as well, but it's really good. And then we've got the classic. This is the Thorn EMI version here. Return of the Living Dead. Not much to say about this. Tarman, everybody's in it. You know, Clu Gulager's in it, of course. You know, and it's one of the all-time great kind of party flicks. Just all around, just a classic, right? The music, the punk music, you know, the zombies and everything, the whole thing. Just always been a big fan of this one, guys. What do we got next here? Microwave Massacre. Yes. The old Midnight Video. How good is the Midnight Video logo, by the way, guys? I mean, check that out. I've always thought that was cool. Very cool stuff. And of course, this has Jackie Vernon in it, guys. And I mean, if you haven't seen him in anything before, you might recognize his, oh, Karen, let's go to the North Pole. I hate when I lose my hat. I'm going to go up there. It's so cold around here at this time of year. Jackie freaking Vernon is Rudolph, no, not Rudolph, Frosty the Snowman, the original cartoon. So when you watch this, for me anyways, I laugh out loud watching this thing because all I can think of is, all I can see or imagine is Frosty the Snowman going around hacking people and eating them, which is always fun. But yeah, this is more of a schlocky comedy. It's not really a slasher, but just so much fun, guys. I mean, this is a really fun movie. It's got everything, and even the effects, like the pieces of like the hands and limbs that this guy's cutting off and eating. I mean, like, you can tell they're totally rubber props and stuff. But really fun cannibal kind of cadaver. Like I said, it's a creepy comedy about cadavers and cannibalism, which pretty much sums it up. Definitely a classic, though, guys. And then we've got one of lesser-known slashers, Final Exam. Not a huge fan of this one, guys. You know, the first hour or so is a lot of character development, which I understand is really kind of neat because you actually do kind of start to appreciate these characters and kind of care and, you know, feel for them to an extent. But there's just not enough slashing or action in it for me. You know, the killer's wandering around without a mask, which can be okay. I'm not a huge fan of that. But he's just sort of a nondescript guy. The only cool thing about this one, though, I think, is that you don't really know why this guy was doing what he was doing at all. So there's no real explanation. But it, you know, it's definitely one to have in the old collection. And then another great one that I think is cool, and that is Iced. Iced! We've got a movie, a skiing movie, with slashing going on. You guys like using like skiing implements and like burying people in the snow and stuff. It's crazy. Look at this guy. Look at his goggles. I mean, that's awesome. It's just, you know, trying to reinvent something and trying to push it beyond, you know, what we'd seen at that point. This is 1988. It's a cool one, you know. Hot-blooded couples on a cold-blooded weekend, and they're dying to ski. I mean, what a tagline. Definitely cool. I never saw this as a kid, but I was glad to find it and watch it and pick this tape up. And then the last one here, guys, for shelf 7, this will be video 7, is Death Spa. Right? For a Workout in Hell. 1988 again. So at that point, we were kind of hitting rock bottom of the slashers for the most part, and they're, you know, trying to recreate all this kind of stuff. This is kind of like a supernatural, you know, kind of like the machines are kind of taking over and attacking and killing people, but cool nonetheless. Just so crazy. And like, I really like Killer Workout, aka Aerobicide, and this isn't of the same quality as that, but the same kind of thing. Anything like an 80s spa or like a gym workout thing with the chicks working out in spandex and like the, you know, the leg warmers, and it's crazy. So I always dug it. Definitely a good one. Anyways, guys, hope you guys enjoyed. Is that it? Yeah, that's it. Hope you guys enjoyed that video 7. Stay tuned for video 8, where we finish off the rest of the horror stuff. And then we still got all like the 80s action, some 90s action, and we got like the erotic thrillers, which I'm a huge fan of, that kind of, you know, 90s erotic thriller stuff and stuff like that. So, guys, please leave some comments below. Thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. Please click subscribe and hit the notification bell so you know when next videos are coming out, and we will talk to you guys on the next one. Thank you. Bye-bye.